Hello everyone, this is Rick and thanks so much for joining this tutorial. This is the fourth Xcel 2007 tutorial and we're just going to do another basic spreadsheet, a little bit more advanced than the last spreadsheet, and we'll do some formulas, fairly basic, but then I'll show you a couple things that should be helpful for you. So what we have here is we have up here on the top row we have the headers, right? We have name, the test name, test 1, test 2, test 3, and a final exam. And then we've listed 10 students and we have their grades associated with each one of these tests. So what we can do here is we go to column F and we click the mouse in F1. We can type a header here, final grade, for example. Then if we want to take these tests, and we'll do something really simple here at first, say all formulas always start with the equal sign. And then what we want to do is apply a 25% weight to each test. So we just average all the 4 tests together to get their grade. So when we're doing these formulas, the cleanest way to do it is put in parentheses the functionality that you're trying to get. So you're going to say equals B2. You can either type B2, or the easier thing to do is just click B2, the B2 cell with the mouse, and say times, which is the asterisk symbol, 0.25, which is 25%. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do that same thing for test number 2. And we're going to do it again for test number 3. And finally we're going to do it for the final exam, which is cell E2 times 0.25. This student number 1 has a grade of 87.25, and of course we would round that, and I'll show you how to format those cells later. In order to copy this down, well, in order to do that for each student, that would be long and tedious. So the easiest thing to do is to click your mouse in the cell, F2, take your cursor to the bottom right of that highlighted cell, and my screen recorder is not showing it for some reason. However, you should get a cross symbol. When you get that cross symbol, click the left mouse button and hold it, and then drag it down to where you want to copy your formula to. You see what happened? It filled in everyone automatically. And if you look here at this formula, you'll notice here is referencing B2, C2. So this row right here, when we copy it down, it automatically updates it to row 3, row 4, row 5, and so forth. So in reality, you're probably not going to give each test the same weight. So what we'd like to do here is apply a percentage difference to each test. So what I want to do is just insert a column, and the way to do that is highlight the row where you want to insert above. So in this case, click right on the number 2, you'll get the arrow key. Your cursor will turn into an arrow key. Click with one single click with the left mouse, and then right click and say insert. And what will happen is we'll insert a row. So what we can do here is we can put a title here. We'll say percentage. We'll say weight. Okay, then we go here and we'll weight test 1 at 20%, which is 0.20. We'll put test 2 at 20%, test 3 at 20%, and then the final exam will be worth 40%. And that's typically more realistic to have different weights to different grades. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight, I'm going to click on B2, I'm going to click the left mouse button, and I'm going to hold down the left mouse button, drag it over to E2, and I want to clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to say format cells from my menu, and then I'm going to choose under the number, I'm going to choose percentage, and by default it leaves 2 decimal places. So in this case I don't need 2 decimal places, so I'm going to hit the arrow there until I get to 0 decimal places, and then I say OK. You notice it makes it a little bit cleaner and easier to read. Okay, so now what we want to do is these are no longer worth 25% apiece. What we want to do is we want to go in here and we want to say B3 test score is now or 20%. And then we want, likewise, we want to go here, and instead of putting 25% for the second one, for the second test, we want to put cell C2, which is 20%. And then we can just click right in the formula here, and then just backspace, and then click the same thing for test 3. And finally, on test 4, instead of 25%, we're going to give it this 40% weight. So we're going to click this E2 cell. So that'll tabulate that, and you notice the score changed a little bit. And so we're applying the right formulas here. But now if we go ahead and do this copy, and we copy it down, we have a real problem here. If you notice these numbers, just by looking at them, they don't make any sense. So with that said, what we want to do is look again at this formula, and when we copy it down, you notice what happens is it changes everything incrementally. So what we need to do is freeze it so the test scores are always based on this percentage. So how we do that is we put the dollar symbol in front of the column in the row that we want to freeze. But we want to maintain that constant cell. So in this case, we'll put the dollar symbol in front of the D and the 2 in this case. Likewise, in front of this last one, in front of the E, in front of the 2. Now, when we copy it, I'm going to do the same copy function again. I'm going to drag it down, and now you notice it fixed them all. If you look, the test scores change to row 4, to row 5, to row 6, and so forth. However, the percentages that we wanted to be static are right here. If you needed to change something, you could come along here and you can make this, 15%, and then make the final 45%, and everything dynamically changes. So that's really what I want to show you on tonight's spreadsheet, is how to make a constant reference there, and how to just do a few more formulas. Thanks. Take care.